I was making coffee I didn't really want when the knock came. It was a low, deliberate sound, 3 even taps that didn't belong to a stranger. My apartment was usually a cave of quiet. The only noise was the drip of the kettle and the hum of the fridge. Through the peephole I saw her. Elena. She lived across the hall with her husband, though I rarely saw them together. Mid-40s, dark hair always tied back in a loose knot, a face that carried a kind of softness you notice only when she's not looking at you. She'd been Mrs. Alvarez to me when I first moved in, but lately I'd caught myself thinking of her name on its own, Elena, as if we were already close. I opened the door a crack. "Hi," I said, and my voice cracked like I was 15 again. She smiled, but only halfway, as if testing something. "Sorry to bother you," she said. "You weren't sleeping, were you?" "No," I said quickly. "Just coffee." The hallway smelled faintly of rain. Her coat was wet at the shoulders. She kept her hands inside her sleeves like she didn't know what to do with them. "I wouldn't ask if it wasn't important," she said. I stepped back, letting the door swing wider. "Come in," I said before I'd even thought about it. Inside, my place looked younger than me: cheap furniture, a pile of books on the counter, a single mug waiting for coffee. She stood near the door, not taking off her coat. I could hear the small tick of water dripping from her sleeve onto my floor. She glanced at the mug. "You drink it black?" "Most days." A pause stretched out. She rubbed her palm against her thigh. "I shouldn't be here," she said, then looked up at me. "But I didn't know who else to ask." Her voice wasn't trembling exactly, but it had a softness that made me want to step closer. I didn't. I stayed by the counter, gripping the edge like it was an anchor. "What's wrong?" I asked. She shook her head once, eyes darting to the window. "Nothing's wrong. Just..." She pressed her lips together. "This is stupid." "It's not stupid if you came all the way over here," I said, and my words surprised me with how steady they sounded. Her gaze met mine. For a heartbeat, the room felt smaller, warmer. She looked away first. "You've been kind," she said quietly. "Most people aren't. Not around here." I laughed softly. "I don't think making small talk in the elevator counts as kind." "It does," she said. Her mouth curved but didn't quite make a smile. "You notice things. You say hello? That's rare." I didn't know what to do with that. My hand tightened around the mug. I wanted to tell her I noticed more than I should, how she smelled faintly of citrus when she passed me, how she tilted her head when listening. Instead I said, "It's nothing." She took a breath, then another. "Could you?" She stopped, biting the inside of her cheek. I moved a little closer, though not enough to touch. "Could I what?" Her eyes flicked up, caught mine. For the first time since she'd stepped in, she seemed almost young, uncertain, hopeful. Another knock echoed from the hallway. Sharp, impatient. She flinched. "I shouldn't have come," she whispered. "But I need..." The second knock came louder, followed by a voice calling her name. She looked at me then, really looked, as if deciding something huge. Her hand lifted, almost touching my arm, then stopped in the air. "Please," she said. "Just don't open the door." The voice in the hall faded. Whoever it was must have moved on. Elena stayed near the door, her coat still damp, her shoulders a little hunched like she was bracing for something. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice low. "I didn't think he'd come home so soon." I didn't ask who. I didn't have to. I'd seen her husband a few times, quick glances, tight jaw, eyes that never quite met mine. He worked late, or at least he said he did. When I did see them together, they walked like strangers sharing the same sidewalk. "It's okay," I said. My voice was softer than I meant. She moved further inside, as if the hallway itself was dangerous. The rain smell came with her. "Do you want a towel?" I asked. She hesitated, then nodded. While I fetched it, my thoughts ran ahead of me. What was I doing? She was twice my age, my neighbor's wife. I'd had flings, but nothing serious, nothing like this, not even anything spoken. Yet every time I'd passed her in the hall, something had caught. Her stillness, maybe. The way she'd look like she was about to speak, then change her mind. I handed her the towel. Her fingers brushed mine, just a second, but enough to feel the warmth beneath her damp skin. Thank you, she said. She dried her hair quickly, not looking at me. You're in school, right? Graduated last spring, I said. Trying to figure things out now. She made a small sound. I remember that feeling. You do? I married young, she said, still facing the window. Straight from college. Thought I knew who I was. Turns out. She trailed off, gave a short laugh without humor. I waited, not wanting to push. She turned then, leaning against the window ledge. Do you ever feel like you're living someone else's plan? All the time, I said before I could stop myself. Her eyes flicked up, searching mine. Yeah, she murmured. The silence between us changed shape. It wasn't awkward anymore. It was something heavier, like a room filling with water. I wanted to tell her I'd watched her smile at the mailman but not at her husband. I wanted to say I'd been imagining her knocking on my door for months. Instead, I sipped my coffee. You're good at listening, she said. I'm not good at much else, I said, which made her smile, really smile, for the first time that night. She stepped closer, just one pace, but in my small kitchen it made all the difference. She reached out as if to fix my collar, then stopped herself, hand hovering in the air. I'm making a mess of things, she whispered. I swallowed. You're not. For a second, her fingers rested on my shirt anyway, light as breath, before she pulled them back. The air in my kitchen felt too warm, like someone had turned up the heat without telling me. Elena stood so close I could see the rain drying on the fine hairs near her temple. Her hand had just left my shirt. My chest still felt the ghost of her touch. A key rattled in the hall. We both froze. She stepped back fast, pressing herself against the window as if she could disappear into it. He's still here, she whispered. My heartbeat was a drum. Your husband? She nodded once, sharply. He forgot something. He always forgets something. The knock at my door came softer this time, polite. Anyone home? A male voice called. I swallowed hard. Do you want me to? No, she hissed, eyes darting. Don't say anything. We stayed still, listening. After a beat, footsteps moved away, then the faint sound of a door closing across the hall. Elena's shoulders sagged. She turned, gripping the edge of my counter like she needed it to stand. I shouldn't be here, she said. I know, I said quietly. Her eyes met mine. Then why didn't you tell me to leave? I didn't answer. I couldn't. She let out a breath that was almost a laugh but wasn't. I keep thinking, she said, about how simple it was before. You'd nod at me in the elevator. I'd smile back. That was it. It wasn't simple for me, I said before I could stop myself. Her head snapped up. What? I've been noticing you. For months. Hoping you'd talk to me. A flicker passed over her face. Surprise, fear, something else. She stepped closer again. Don't say that, she whispered. I already did. We stood there, a breath apart, our reflections caught together in the dark window. Her fingers trembled, she clasped them tight. You're a kid, she said. 24? 22. Her eyes closed briefly. God. My son's almost your age. That doesn't change anything, I said, though my voice sounded less sure now. It changes everything. Her hands pressed to her forehead. I shouldn't even be here. But she didn't move to leave. Instead, she reached for her coat, then stopped halfway, her hands still in the air. I can't keep. A knock sounded again, louder. This time it was my roommate, calling my name through the door, asking if I wanted dinner. I didn't answer. Neither did she. Elena's eyes searched mine, frantic and soft at the same time. We need to stop, she said. I nodded. Okay. But neither of us stepped back. The space between us felt like a string pulled tight, waiting to snap. She lifted her hand just enough to touch my cheek, but stopped a centimeter away, her fingers trembling, eyes full of a question she didn't dare ask. The days after that night blurred. I heard Elena's door open and close at odd hours. We passed each other twice in the hallway, her eyes hidden under sunglasses even though it was cloudy. She said nothing more than hello. By the third evening, my own nerves snapped. I couldn't sit in my room any longer. I crossed the hall and knocked once. The door opened just a crack. She looked at me like someone staring at a fire they shouldn't touch. You shouldn't be here, she said. You came to me first, I said. Now you won't even look at me. I'm trying to keep you out of this, she whispered. Out of what? Her mouth tightened. Out of my mistakes. I swallowed hard. I don't think you're a mistake. Her hand clenched the edge of the door. For a second I thought she'd slam it, but instead she opened it wider. Come in, she said softly. Her apartment smelled faintly of soap and something sweet. The living room lights were off. Only a lamp glowed in the corner. On the table sat 2 untouched glasses of wine. I was waiting for him, she said. He's late again. Your husband? She nodded. He doesn't ask where I go anymore. He just assumes. I didn't know what to do with my hands. I shoved them in my pockets. Why me? I asked quietly. Why knock on my door that night? She let out a shaky breath. Because you see me. No one else does. Her voice cracked on the last word. Something hot rose in my chest. Then stop pretending you don't want this, I said. Stop acting like it's just me. Her eyes flashed, anger, fear, desire all tangled. Do you know what would happen if we... She cut herself off, pressing her palm against her mouth. I stepped closer. Tell me. She lowered her hand. Everything would fall apart, she whispered. Maybe it's already falling apart, I said. For a moment we just stared at each other, our reflections caught in the window again. Her breathing was quick, uneven. She reached out, grabbed my wrist, then dropped it like it burned her. I can't do this, she said. Yes, you can. She shook her head. You're so young. You don't understand. This isn't just some secret. This is my life. Then let me in, I said, softer now. She looked at me with something like desperation. Say you'll stop coming here, she said. I didn't answer. Her hand rose again, fingers brushing the edge of my jaw. We both leaned in, drawn like magnets, until there was only a breath between us. A key rattled at her door. We froze. The key in the lock froze us both. Elena's fingers still hovered at my jaw, her breath warm on my cheek. In one motion she stepped back, smoothing her hair, the mask sliding over her face as the door swung open. It wasn't her husband. A tall man in a navy jacket stepped inside, stopping short when he saw me. He wasn't much older than me, late 20s maybe, lean, with Elena's same dark eyes. For a moment I couldn't place him. Then she spoke. Matteo, she said, her voice low. My stomach dropped. Her son. His gaze flicked from her to me, sharp and searching. What's going on? He asked. Nothing, Elena said too quickly. He was just... She gestured vaguely, but her hand trembled. I stepped forward, forcing my voice steady. I was fixing her sink. Matteo's eyes narrowed. Right. He let the door close behind him. The silence felt like a pressure cooker. Elena tried again. Your father's working late. I heard you. Matteo cut in. In the hall. You told someone not to open the door. His eyes landed on me. That someone? I looked at Elena. She looked away. The room tilted. All the little boundaries I'd convinced myself existed, thin lines of safety, disappeared at once. Matteo dropped his bag on the couch. Does Dad know? He asked his mother, voice flat. No, she said softly. Then tell me what this is. She swallowed hard. It isn't what you think. Then what is it? His voice cracked, anger and hurt bleeding through. I could feel my own face heating. I should go, I muttered. No, Matteo said sharply. Stay. Elena closed her eyes like she was bracing for impact. Matteo. He held up a hand. How long? Stop, she whispered. How long? She opened her eyes, met his. Nothing has happened, she said. Not yet. Her words hung in the air like a confession. My heart pounded. Matteo let out a bitter laugh. Not yet. Great. He grabbed his bag again, heading for the door. I'm not saying anything, for now. But you need to figure out what you're doing, Mom. The door slammed. The sound echoed through the apartment. Elena pressed her palms to her face. Oh God, she whispered. What have I done? I stepped closer, unsure if I should touch her. She dropped her hands, eyes red, looking at me as if I was both a lifeline and a mistake. I don't know how to stop this, she said. Neither did I. Outside, footsteps pounded down the stairwell. Inside, the two of us stood frozen in a silence that felt like the edge of a cliff. The apartment felt like it was holding its breath. After Matteo left, Elena and I didn't move for a long time. The ticking of the wall clock was louder than our own breathing. Finally she sank onto the couch, elbows on her knees, fingers pressed to her temples. He knows, she said, voice thin. I sat across from her, still near the door. He doesn't know everything. He knows enough. She let out a harsh laugh that broke halfway. I'm the mother who drags some young neighbor into her mess. That's who I am now. That's not who you are. She looked up at me. Then tell me. Who am I? I swallowed. Someone who deserves to be seen. Someone who deserves more than being left alone in a marriage that's already gone. Her lips trembled. She pressed them together. Stop making me sound good, she whispered. I'm not. You're human. Silence again. Then she stood abruptly, pacing. I should end this. You're 22. You have your whole life. You shouldn't be standing here with me. I'm here because I chose to be. She stopped, turned. Do you even know what you're choosing? Maybe not, I admitted. But I know what I feel when I'm with you. Her eyes closed. Don't say that, she murmured. I have to. When she opened her eyes, they were wet but steady. And if I say I feel it too? She asked. My heart thudded. Then we stopped pretending. She stepped closer slowly, like each pace was a decision. Everything would change, she said. Matteo. My husband. My whole life. Yours too. I know. I'm scared, she whispered. Me too. For a long moment we just stood there, close enough to touch, both shaking a little. Then she reached out, not tentative this time, and placed her palm flat against my chest. This is real, she said quietly. But real doesn't always mean right. I covered her hand with mine. Then what do we do? She searched my face. We tell the truth. At least to ourselves. I nodded. Starting now. We stood like that, her hand on my chest, mine over hers, no words, just the sound of our breathing. It felt like standing at the edge of something vast. Then she pulled her hand back slowly, fingers slipping from mine. I need time, she said, to figure out what this means. For me. For you. I nodded again, though my throat ached. As she walked to the door, she paused, glanced back, and gave a small, tired smile. You'll still say hello in the elevator? She asked. Always, I said. And then she was gone, the door clicking shut behind her. The room felt both emptier and heavier, like something had shifted forever, but not in a way either of us could name yet. 3 weeks passed before I saw Elena again. No texts, no knocks, just quiet hallways and the echo of that night sitting in my chest. I'd convinced myself it was over, that she'd chosen silence, and I'd been a mistake she couldn't afford. Then one rainy evening, as I fumbled with my keys, her door opened. She stood there without her coat, hair loose for once, eyes tired but clear. Hi, she said, almost shy. Hi, I echoed. My heart jumped. She took a step into the hall. I've been thinking, she said. About everything. I didn't move. Me too. Another step. I told Mateo the truth, she said softly. Not every detail. But enough. He's angry, but he understands more than I expected. I let out a slow breath. And your husband? Her eyes flicked down the hall. Gone. We'd been living like ghosts for years. Last week we decided to stop pretending. He moved out. I didn't know what to say. Relief and sadness tangled in my chest. I'm sorry, I murmured. Don't be. She managed a small, unsteady smile. It was coming. With or without you. We stood in the hallway like two people who'd survived a storm, not sure how to speak now that the wind was gone. I kept replaying that night, she said, wondering if it was real or just loneliness. And? Her eyes lifted to mine. It was real. I swallowed hard. So what now? She took a slow breath. Now I start over. Carefully. Honestly. No hiding. She paused, voice quieter. If you still want to be part of that. The knot in my chest loosened. I do, I said simply. Something in her face softened. She reached out and brushed her fingertips against my wrist, a small touch, but without the tremor this time. I'm not promising it'll be easy, she said. I'm not asking for easy, I replied. We both laughed a little at that, not a perfect movie laugh, but a small, nervous one that felt real. Come in, she said finally, opening her door wider. Inside her apartment, the lamp glowed warm against the rain outside. The air didn't feel secret anymore. It felt like a room waiting to be lived in. We sat down on the couch, a careful distance between us, not rushing it. For the first time, there were no words we had to hide, no doors we had to bolt. Just a long breath and the sense that, whatever this was, we'd chosen it together. She reached for my hand. I let her. The rain kept falling, but inside everything felt strangely new. Did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next?